Every December, families decorate Christmas trees, but their origins have little to do with Christianity. The tradition began over 2,000 years ago in Northern Europe during pagan winter solstice rituals. Evergreen trees symbolized life and light, surviving the darkest days of the year, and were used to ward off evil spirits. As Christianity spread, these customs were absorbed rather than erased. By the 16th century, the modern Christmas tree appeared in Germany, later spreading across Europe and America. Once controversial, it became widely accepted through royal influence and electric lights. What started as a pagan symbol of protection is now one of the world's most recognizable Christmas traditions. You're listening to History Uncovered by All That's Interesting. I'm Austin Harvey, joined by Kina Fraga, and today we're exploring the surprising origins of the Christmas tree. Like many traditions linked to Christmas such as Krampus or other winter legends, the Christmas tree actually predates Christianity. While it's now a central symbol of the holiday, bringing an evergreen tree indoors has little connection to the story of Jesus. Instead, the tradition comes from pagan cultures in Northern Europe, where the winter solstice was seen as the darkest and most dangerous time of the year. During this 12-day Yule period, people believed spirits roamed freely, and evergreen trees, which stayed green through winter, symbolized life, protection, and hope long before they became part of Christmas. Many ancient cultures shared myths about the dangers of the winter solstice. In Norse mythology, this fear took the form of the wild hunt Odin and a band of spectral riders said to race across the sky hidden in storm clouds, abducting anyone caught outside. Greek mythology had a similar belief involving mischievous, goblin-like creatures who abandoned their attempt to destroy the world tree during a dark 12-day period, instead roaming the land causing chaos while the tree healed itself. Interestingly, both Norse and Greek traditions placed great importance on a world tree, showing a surprising overlap between cultures that rarely interacted. Because most plants died in winter, while evergreens remained alive, these trees became symbols of life and protection. People brought evergreen branches into their homes, burned resin, and used aromatic plants like pine and fir to ward off evil spirits, a practice seen across Greek, Roman, Egyptian, and other ancient societies. When Christianity spread through Europe, these deeply rooted customs proved difficult to erase. So rather than banning them outright, many were gradually absorbed into Christian tradition. One reason the Roman Empire succeeded was its willingness to absorb existing beliefs rather than erase them. And Christianity followed a similar strategy. Instead of forcing people to abandon deeply rooted traditions, the church often reinterpreted them. This is why Christmas is celebrated on December 25th, date already significant because of the Yule festival, despite strong evidence that Jesus was not born then. Shifting the meaning of familiar customs made conversion easier, allowing practices like bringing evergreen trees indoors to continue under a new religious context. While scholars have long debated the actual timing of Jesus' birth, using biblical clues and historical records, the tradition of decorating trees in winter had existed in Europe for centuries. What remains less clear is when this practice fully transformed into the Christmas tree as we know it today. Historical records point to 1539, when a Christmas tree was documented at Strasbourg Cathedral, then part of German territory, marking the moment when the tradition began to take its modern form. Later spreading across Europe and beyond, Strasbourg is often considered one of the most beautiful cities in France, and it makes sense that the Christmas tree tradition would gain popularity there, especially given Germany's strong influence on many holiday customs still practiced today. After the decorated tree appeared at Strasbourg Cathedral, people were so impressed that the idea spread rapidly. Families rushed to bring trees into their homes, decorating them for the season, and the trend became so widespread that authorities were forced to pass laws limiting households to a single tree and banning the cutting of pine branches to protect local forests in early recognition of environmental preservation. The tradition continued to grow, drawing in major historical figures such as Martin Luther, who is credited with adding candles to Christmas trees after being inspired by the sight of stars shining through the forest at night. Though beautiful, this innovation also made the custom far more dangerous. turning Christmas trees into a serious fire. Risk. Though the story of decorating trees with lights is rooted in a simple moment of inspiration, bringing the beauty of starlight indoors. It became a lasting tradition that spread far beyond Germany. By the 18th century, German settlers carried the custom across Europe and eventually into the American territories. And by then, the once pagan symbol had been fully absorbed into Christian practice. In Europe, the tradition was embraced quickly, likely because of its deep cultural roots and ancient seasonal rituals. America, however, proved far less welcoming. In the 17th century, Puritan colonies viewed Christmas as pagan excess, with no biblical foundation, associating it with indulgence and idleness. In Massachusetts, celebrations were banned entirely by 1659, and anyone observing Christmas outside of church services faced fines. This strict opposition persisted well into the 19th century, reflecting the rigid moral climate of early Puritan society and marking a stark contrast to Europe's enthusiastic adoption of the Christmas tree. Although German immigrants brought Christmas trees to America in the 17th century, the tradition faced strong cultural resistance due to the Puritan influence, and for about 200 years, trees remained uncommon. That changed during the Victorian era when Queen Charlotte introduced the first Christmas tree to the British royal palace. In 1848, an illustration of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert with their children around a tree was published in the Illustrated London News and later reprinted in the American magazine, Godey's Lady's Book, helping popularize the custom in the United States. Technological advances soon accelerated the trend. Thomas Edison's invention of safe electric lights replaced candles, reducing fire hazards and inspiring large public displays. By 1923, 48-foot balsam fir with 2,500 electric bulbs was erected at the White House, marking the first official tree lighting ceremony, presided over by President Calvin Coolidge. What began as a long-standing European tradition had fully transformed into a modern American holiday spectacle in just under a century, after the White House erected its first Christmas tree in 1923. Other public displays quickly followed. Rockefeller Center, for example, began putting up a 20-foot tree, and the tradition of large illuminated public trees spread across cities and towns throughout America. Meanwhile, the Times Square New Year's Eve ball modeled on time balls used in European ports to help ship captains synchronize their chronometers became an iconic, illuminated spectacle covered in light bulbs, a tradition that continues over a century later. Today, Christmas trees are ubiquitous. Nearly every American city has a decorated tree each season. While artificial trees have become more common, roughly 80 to 84% of families now use them. Real trees remain popular for their scent and festive feel, though practical concerns like space, cleanup, and pets often make artificial trees a preferred choice. Even so, around 25 million real trees are still sold annually in the U.S., a testament to the enduring popularity of this centuries-old tradition in parts of America. Especially in Puritan communities, many Christmas traditions, including Christmas trees, were once illegal. Despite this, traditions slowly took hold over time. From simple tree lots run by local groups like the Boy Scouts to Christmas tree farms selling pre-cut pines, today, even families without deep religious ties enjoy decorating trees, singing carols, and celebrating the season. It's remarkable to think that this practice, with roots in ancient European paganism, has survived thousands of years and adapted across cultures. In America, the Christmas tree tradition is relatively recent, just over a century old, but it quickly became intertwined with other cultural symbols. From Santa Claus's modern image to electric lights and mass media promotion, while Europe embraced these customs naturally due to centuries of cultural tradition, in the U.S., widespread adoption often depended on advertising, images in magazines, and technological innovations like electric lights. Even with such a short history here, the Christmas tree has become a deeply ingrained symbol of the holiday season. We hope everyone listening found this as interesting. As we did, I definitely learned a lot. It's easy to take traditions for granted, like putting up a Christmas tree or watching the New Year's ball drop, without ever thinking about where they came from or how they developed. Many customs have fascinating histories that are far stranger than we realize, like the Easter Bunny or Baby New Year, which likely began as much simpler or even bizarre practices before evolving into what we know today. This is our last episode of 2025, and what a year it's been. Happy New Year to everyone. Stay safe, enjoy the holidays, and we'll see you in 2026. Just maybe stay away from the fruitcake.